Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the Last Word Sports. Here today are myself, Scott, and Fletcher. This is the grand return of the Last Word Sports. Boys, how are we feeling today?
I'm feeling
Doing
great.
all right, Chuck.
It's
Doing
great
all
to
right.
be back.
Almost summertime.
Regardless of the year break that we took, we are still dedicated to churning out quality content. And today we have another banger for you. Today we are going to be predicting the end of season rankings and playoff participants in the MLB, starting with the National League. Now, boys, the National League, in my opinion, is the lesser of the two leagues, even though they probably have the best team in baseball.
Lesser of the two leagues.
Yeah, you're right. They do have the best team in baseball, Chuck.
The San Francisco Giants.
The San Francisco Giants.
All right. Yada. Okay, so what division do we want to start with? Who do we think is going to win? How about here? I'll start.
Let's talk about the NL West.
The NL West. We want to jump right into the NL West.
Let's go right into it, man.
Yeah, sure. Let's roll.
Let's just talk about why the Dodgers are like the most hated team in baseball, and just keep like bringing in these unreal. Like, how do you take a team that like spent a ridiculous amount of money, pretty much loses nothing from a lot of trades? They lost Max Scherzer, but lost a bunch of money from a bunch of trades that they did. And then they go and they get Freddie Freeman, like the best first baseman in baseball.
Ridiculous. It's absurd. The Dodgers are they're loaded every year. I don't know how they do it. It annoys me to no end because they're in my division. And
I mean, we know they have a lot of money, but they also develop players really well, which is frustrating.
Yeah.
Like they took Andrew Heaney, who last year was universally mocked as a horrible starting pitcher, struggled immensely I think he was on the Angels, then he got traded to my Yankees. He was terrible. I mean, the guy started 2 games for the Dodgers before he got hurt this year. He went 6 innings with 11 strikeouts. His ERA is 0 in those 2 games. The guy was a dog. Like, they've got the most beautiful lineup in baseball, just top to bottom. I was actually reading this article the other day, which is kind of crazy. They're hitting home runs at like the 5th lowest rate in the league. They actually haven't been hitting like any bombs, which is weird. Mookie leads the team with like 7 home runs or something. Then Bellinger's got like 5, and nobody else has like more than 3, which when you think about it, they still have like the second, third best record in baseball. And they haven't been mashing. And guys like Freddie Freeman and Max Muncy are going to start. I mean, Trey Turner right now has hit like no dingers. And obviously he's not, he's more of a batting for average and speed guy, but he's still hit what, like 25, 30.
He's good. He's good for 25 to 30 a year.
He'll start putting them over the fence real soon.
So really, I think it's dangerous when you think of how good this team can be when they really start to mesh. So.
Yeah. Agreed.
They'll just have issues against Logan Webb and Rodon as well.
Against who?
Logan Webb and Rodon.
Dude, Max Muncy eats the Giants for breakfast.
That is true.
Max Muncy.
That is true.
Max Muncy.
What was Rodon's ERA? How many earned runs did Rodon allow in his last start?
In his last start,
8 3 innings.
Eight, and I believe 3 innings. Yeah. That was a rough one. But
the Cardinals were up. The Cardinals were up so much that they put in Albert Pujols.
Dude, and he gave up 3 runs. Awful pitcher. Worst ever.
Dude, he had a 30.
Dude, him and Babe Ruth are the only guys with like 600 homers who have also pitched.
That's crazy. Albert Pujols is great.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so the Dodgers they're easily, I think, the favorites to win the division.
Yeah,
be in the playoffs.
They're not even, funny enough, dude. The Dodgers aren't even really at 100% too. Like Blake Trinan's still hurt, and he's a big part of their.
Yeah, he's a really nice player.
They've had some.
I think Kershaw's out for a little bit too.
Kershaw's been out. I know Urias missed a little bit of time, but they're the most, on paper, the most talented team in baseball, and they just consistently win their division. And again, it's just super annoying, but like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And I see them winning the division.
Beautiful roster.
Yeah, they will win the division. So that's all of our picks to win the NOS.
Yeah. I mean, like, the thing is, so far the Giants and Padres have been hang in with them. The Padres are a game and a half back, and obviously Tatis has been out, which we really thought they'd struggle more than they have without kind of their superstar.
But Machado,
Machado has been unreal. He's been batting like 350, and Eric Hosmer has been
hitting
like
340.
I can't believe
it's
Eric
crazy.
Hosmer this year.
Yeah,
Seriously, I picked him up in fantasy. Him and Taylor Ward have been big for
Taylor
me.
Ward for the
Oh,
Great.
Yeah.
Taylor Ward, animal.
Okay, let's move on.
Nobody took the D-backs because Zach Gallen has been dealing.
You know, the D-backs are great. Love Mad Bum. They suck. they suck.
When you say they suck, what are they, like 5 games ahead of the Red Sox?
Yeah, but that's because the Red Sox are horrid.
We'll talk about this later, boys.
For sure.
All right, for sure.
Okay, so moving on to the NL Central. This is really a 2-team race.
Yeah.
I think one team wins the division, one team sneaks in as a wild card team. Right now, I'm going to go with the Brewers winning the division once again. I believe that when Woodruff, Burns, and Peralta are all healthy, they have the most dangerous 3-headed monster in all of baseball. It's nice to see Christian Yelich putting the bat on the ball again. He had a few bad seasons ever since after he won MVP. Hunter Renfroe has been tearing it up. They've had
Rowdy's been playing really nicely recently.
Just they've been playing very, very complete baseball, and that's what you want to see from a team that is going to win your division. So,
I mean, I was a little worried about the Brewers because they just don't have the offensive firepower that the other like elite teams do.
Right.
Like you mentioned, Chuck, their pitching staff is just impeccable, really top to bottom. I mean, Peralta, Woodruff,
two top 5 relievers in the game as well.
Yeah, and the bullpen. I mean, dude, Devin Williams' changeup is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just develop pitchers incredibly well, and Woodruff hasn't even really been like that elite so far this year, and they're still 24 and 14.
More Peralta. Peralta had his best game like 2 days ago.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But we've seen I'd say just enough offensive output to kind of like inspire some confidence. Luis Urias came back and he's been playing solid for him. And again, do I think they'll make a deep run in the playoffs? Probably not until they add, another big bat or two. But, this division is really terrible when you look at the Pirates, Cubs, and Reds.
Cubs
outside,
are
of course,
underrated.
the Cardinals.
The Cubs, I think by the end of the year, will probably end up third with Pittsburgh and Cincy bringing up
I
the
agree.
rear.
Pirates,
But the point is,
keep doing what they're doing.
But
exactly.
the issue is point taken from Scott. The division is pretty terrible.
They won't have any
That being
problems
said.
cruising to first
second
place.
second worst division in baseball.
Yeah.
But Fletch, you got anything on the Brewers?
I
or
mean-
at least NL Central in general.
I mean, you guys sort of covered a lot of it. They're pitching elite as far as names go. Their bullpen is nasty. They're going to be throwing heat. They're going to pull the string on you. They're a tough team to hit. I think if Yelich really gets the bat going, he tried, maybe not return to full MVP form.
Yeah,
but-
I think his back is just too messed
some
up at this
some
point.
semblance of that. I think they'll have enough offense to get things rolling, and it at least be competitive come playoff time. They could give any team a run for their money. I just don't see them.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. They can probably, I could see them being, second in the National League.
Yeah.
Depending on, the hot and cold spells of their lineup and, whether their starters get hit around or not. I could see them being second in terms of in the National League. If they get third, I don't believe they will make a playoff push just based off of they're going to have to play a pretty good team after the wild card.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so with the new playoff setup, if they get third, would they have a best of 3 series against the worst wild card team? Is that how it works?
I believe it's the best wild card team would play them.
Okay.
Gotcha. I thought it was.
So
Or no, you're right. They'd have to
Yeah,
play.
and then the
yeah,
top
correct.
2 wild card teams play each other.
The top 2 wild card teams play each other. Yeah, you're right.
gosh, I'm still
Correct.
adjusting.
Because then
playoffs.
first and second seed get a bye.
Mhm.
Correct.
All right. Yeah. Then I see. Yeah. Because honestly, it's hard for me. I mean, I guess we'll get to them in a second, but it's hard for me to see the Mets maintain their form. and
Actually,
keep
that's
holding
perfect.
that record.
That's a good
Perfect.
segue.
Perfect
Yeah.
segue into the NL East. Honestly, the toughest division for me to pick because the teams you'd think would have a shot at winning, the Braves and the Phillies, have both been kind of underplaying this year a little bit. The Mets have been really hot, and we keep thinking this is their year. This is their year. Scherzer just went down.
Scherzer just went down.
Tyler McGill went down.
DeGrom's been out, but their lineup looks better than it's probably ever been since they went to the World Series, I think back in like 2015 against the Royals.
Yeah. I mean, I
Um,
just really struggle because they've been winning games and they've been putting together just really good stretches of baseball. But James McCann, their catcher, just got hurt with a wrist injury. He's out till June 25th. And with Scherzer gone till July, DeGrom's probably gone till July, and Tyler McGill, who was like their number 3 pitcher right there, he's out too until like June 7. Obviously, I think Chris Bassett has been a really underrated addition for them. He's been huge. His ERA is like 2.4, and he was really good for Oakland last year.
And I mean, Carrasco's can go 6 or 7 innings a night.
He's been solid. But I just struggle to see them keeping up their momentum with all these injuries. And when I look at the roster, it's got some nice pieces. And obviously, Pete Alonso's great. He just hit a walk-off home run a few minutes ago, actually.
Polar bear.
But you know, I just like Lindor is good, but he's still batting like 230. You know, he's not quite Cleveland Lindor.
He's a bit inconsistent lately.
And
like,
and the rest of the guys on the team are good, but like Eduardo Escobar,
a few of those
Jeff
guys have made
McNeil.
huge strides though. Like Brandon Zemo's been huge.
He's been good.
Who else did I see?
McNeil's been batting like 300.
It wasn't McNeil. It was another outfielder. I'm probably tripping, but I mean, there have been a few guys on the Mets who have made strides, but like, I agree. I don't think the injuries are gonna, help them build momentum to get hot to make a run at this division. Therefore, my pick to win the division is going to be the Philadelphia Phillies.
I chose the Braves. But yeah, I can understand where you're coming from because Harper, I think he's got like an injured UCL or something, but he's still batting like 300 with 10 homers.
He's DHing for them right now because of it, and he's still hitting nukes.
And Schwarber's batting like 180, but he hits nukes too.
And then Castellanos
that'll get up,
but he's still
and their rotation really is. When you look at Aaron Nola's got some really good stuff. Zach Wheeler was obviously a Cy Young candidate last year. And what's his name? Kyle Gibson has been pitching very well to start the year, but the bullpen just really scares me, Chuck. It is atrocious. It might be the worst bullpen in baseball. I mean, they blew. Did you see that? 8-1 lead they blew to the Mets?
Yeah,
in the 9th inning.
Their bullpen is not their strong suit. That is 100% fair to say. But here's the thing. I think in their interdivisional matchups, I think they match up against each team in their division pretty well.
It's fair.
The issue, as you said, is the bullpen. That's why they won't make a run in the playoffs once they get in the that's the only thing. I think Bryce Harper is good enough to keep guys in games with, a bomb maybe every other game, every other third game when he's hot. I think guys like Schwarber are going to come around because that's just what he does. He's hot and cold. Castellanos.
He's still been raking. He's been hitting low average.
Yeah, for sure.
And he'll get that.
But I mean,
they got Real Muno as well, who's $275 a year, great defensive catcher. Like they have a bunch of pieces in place, as well as the two-headed monster up front in the rotation with Wheeler and Nola. Again, as you said, the issue is the bullpen, and that's not going to change as long as they're in the season because they're probably not going to get anyone.
They could try to make a move, but I don't see them fixing their bullpen.
I don't see any team with a good reliever dealing to them right now because every team with a good reliever is probably contending.
Relievers are valuable, man.
They're super valuable. You need them.
Extremely valuable.
So Fletch, who did you pick to win the NL?
My lack of faith in the Mets also led me to the Phillies. I wanted to choose Miami so bad. Just because I love Jazz. I wanted to choose Miami. I love Jazz, and he's super fun to watch. He's leading the MLB in triples, and they're improving.
They've got a solid rotation.
Yeah, they're getting better.
Yeah,
they're not going to win the division. They'll probably end up 4th by the end of the year, just because I still view
the top 3 teams are too much talent.
Yeah, they're too talented.
So I guess we'll get to this in a
But yeah,
sec.
so
Obviously, I
Phillies.
picked the Braves to win the division, and you guys picked the Phillies. Do you at least have the Braves as a wild card team, or no?
I
I don't have the Braves as
I
well.
don't have the
You
Braves
just you
as a
guys are
wild card
completely
team.
out on the
I'm out
Braves,
on the
the
Braves. No
reigning
Freeman,
World
no
Series
Freeman, no
champs.
Freeman, no series, no Freeman.
I mean, guys, like I understand where you're coming from, but like all the points you made about the Phillies, Chuck, I see the Braves as um like a better team. Like to me,
Also,
Ronald Acuna will be as good as Bryce Harper, once he gets his feet underneath him.
probably.
Acuna's an animal and he's back
That's
now.
absolutely
And
true.
when I look at that infield, Matt Olson, Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, Dansby Swanson, Swanson's starting to pick it up. I mean, those guys are all studs. Those
Mhm.
guys are all
They're
studs.
great.
Riley's good for 330 homers. Matt Olson, I know it's, gonna sound crazy, but to me, he's about as good as Freddie Freeman at this point in his career. Like if he can bat 280 with 35 homers again, he's better defensively at first base than Freeman is. And
That's
Freeman
Yeah.
is what, 330 homers. Like I really don't think it's that big of a drop off. And I know the Braves have been struggling to start the year, but I think they're going to kind of work their way into it. Even last year, they were like 500 halfway through the season.
true.
As long as they can, again, I'm a little less certain they're going to win the division because there's so much variability there, but I think they'll at least sneak into the playoffs. And again, I think we all agree the Mets, it looks like their momentum is kind of faltering. Ozuna's got like 7 homers, and Spencer Strider has really emerged as a great reliever for the Braves. Obviously, it'd be huge if Soroka could come back and be like, back to his old self. It's an Achilles injury, and it's going to be a while.
I don't think
But he was so elite. But again, like I still think I like the Braves overall pitching group more than the Phillies when you factor in the bullpen. And I think Fried is one of the more underrated pitchers in the league.
Max Fried is great.
Charlie Morton is pretty old. He had some
He's
rough
old
starts
as
to start
hell.
the year,
He's
but
old.
he's very old. But he's still got some good
Bit
stuff.
of a fossil, but he's serviceable for sure.
Kyle Wright's been good to start the year. So I think I have a little more trust in the Braves than I do the Phillies.
That's
That's fair.
fair.
To say. That's fair.
And
to
I see where you're coming from. I just like
fair to say.
losing Freddie, losing Soler, like it's tough for me to see them, recapture the magic from last year. But I could see them winning the division still. It's gonna be pretty tight, I think, by the end of the year.
I don't think they win the division. I will say they have a shot at a wild card spot. I genuinely don't think they can win the division, and here's why. Through the dog days of summer through July and August, you really need guys who are going to pick your team up. And for the longest time in the Braves organization, that was Freddie Freeman. And your franchise loses its biggest leader off of, financials. And that's literally it, off of financials. And that's a horrible way to lose your biggest leader. And honestly, at this point with the Braves, I don't think anyone's going to step up yet. Acuna.
I think Acuna has to be that guy.
He's got to be that guy because he's their best player. But he's
if he's
just
going
coming
to
back
step
from
up like
injury.
as that leader, and if he can get his feet under him coming back from an ACL injury. But I
Mhm.
think Acuna's talent and potential is even he has a higher ceiling than Freddie Freeman.
Oh, for
ever did.
sure.
For sure, absolutely.
Acuna is an incredible.
Acuna could be a
incredible
top 3
talent.
player in the MLB.
Yeah.
Absolutely he could. They could get like the Braves. Here's the thing: if Acuna gets hot and he starts feeling himself, he starts becoming the leader that I think he could be, then the Braves could get hot and they can make a run. But I just don't see that happening this year, at least. I think
sure.
like
There's a lot of questions around the Braves.
there's some uncertainty as to whether or not Acuna can lead the team like Freddie Freeman did. Freddie was just such a solid player, and supposedly they had some beef
He
on
was
the way
just the
out.
model of
There wasn't.
There wasn't.
Both of them dismissed it.
They
Yeah.
dismissed. Okay,
It was
good.
media.
That's really
stirring-
dumb. Yeah,
stirring
that's
up.
some dumb media stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we got the winners of the divisions.
All right.
I chose
Wild card.
wild card.
So
Are we going? Want to go 1 through 3 or 3?
we'll go 1 through 3. Everyone give their first, second, and third, then we'll talk about it. So my first is the Padres. Second is the Cardinals. Third is the Giants.
So no Mets at all. You
No
think they're
Mets.
going to completely
No
fall
Mets.
off?
No Mets.
I have the Mets as my first wild card team
Yep.
because I think they've just got too much momentum. And like you said, there's been some improvements in the guys in the lineup. And I think Scherzer and DeGrom will come back in mid-July and be strong enough for them to get a wild card spot as long as they can, like, keep their head above 500.
As long as they don't net.
I've got the Padres as my 2. I think we're all probably going to have the Padres in there. They've been really strong, and once Tatis comes back, that'll be big for them.
Extremely strong.
Yeah, and then my 3rd, I was really torn between the Cardinals and the Giants because when I look at the Cardinals, I see just a more talented lineup up and down. I mean, names like Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, guys. I don't really see anybody like that in the San Francisco Giants lineup who I can immediately trust to hit for 330
October's
homers
type
of guy.
Oh my gosh.
I love Jog, and he
Jock's
actually
been hitting
hit
like 230, dude.
But yeah, he's not Nolan Arenado, man.
He's not at all.
Dude, he's not Dylan Carlson.
Yeah, actually.
And his defense sucks, and
but
it's awful.
Cardinals
have seen some
best defensive teams in the MLB.
I mean, they have like an entire Gold Glove.
Something like that. Yeah.
They've got a bunch of guys, and the thing is, what's his name? Miles Mikolas has really stepped up this year as a pitcher, and Jordan Hicks. Nobody talks about Jordan Hicks. I know he's kind of like a project for him. He's coming back from injury, but the guy pitches 101.
Yeah.
And they've tried to shift him into this starting role because what's his name? Flatter's it.
He's been hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's kind of their ace. He's a really good pitcher. If they can get him back, I think in early June, that would help. But all these good things I say about the Cardinals, I think I'm still going to pick the Giants as my final wild card spot. I think I just trust the management in that organization. It doesn't make sense to me. I look at them and I'm like, they really don't have that good of a roster.
Gabe Kapler's a goat.
Win games. They're extremely well run. And Fletch, I know we were joking about Rodon giving up 8 runs in his last start.
But aside from that start, he's been like a Cy Young level player.
He's in first place for the Cy Young right now. Anytime you get a lefty flamethrower, it's just going to throw everyone off, and that's just a fact.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm watching him throw strikeouts, and it's like his go-to strikeout pitch is just the heater down the middle, and they can't touch it.
It's ridiculous.
Dude, and I saw this stat and it blew my mind. His fastball increases 4 to 5 miles per hour progressively through the game.
Oh yeah, he throws his fastest pitches in the 5th and 6th inning.
Yeah,
he suddenly cranks it up to 98, 99.
Yeah, Cuddy's throwing 94 in the first inning, cranks it to 99 in the 5th and 6th.
He's ridiculous, and that is why the Giants are my number 1 wildcard team. All bias implemented.
Not over the Padres.
Super biased. Dude, we're about to be above the Padres after this next series. We're about to sweep them. All right? Sweep. Here's the deal about the Giants is that
the Padres
they
probably
have
have a better rotation all around, man.
Probably. But they're the best run team in baseball. Best manager in the league. Gabe Kapler's a menace. They have all the veteran leadership you could want with Buster Posey and just a super talented pitching staff and rotation. Logan Webb is up and coming.
Wait, did you say Buster Posey was veteran?
Dude, I meant Brandon Crawford.
Retired.
My bad. I meant Brandon Crawford.
Dude, Brandon Crawford is
Brandon Crawford sucks.
He's a great leader.
Good.
I like Brandon Crawford. He's mid at this point in his career.
He bats like 250 with 20 home runs.
Not even 250. He bats 220.
But he's great defensively, and he's a good veteran presence.
He is good defensively
in the dugout. He's the type of guy you want in your dugout for your team. And then, as far as catcher goes, it's been sort of a controversy this year. With Kurt
Casale hit a couple bombs the other day,
going back and forth. But I think Kurt Casale is finally emerging as the guy as far as this year goes for catcher. He started really slow. He started batting 160 or something like that, but he's been picking it up. He hit 2 bombs the other night. He's been calling good games. Aside from the Rodon game, which I believe he was calling, and did they hang 15 on us? I think they hung 15.
Something like that. Yeah.
Hung 15 on you.
Yeah, that was a rough night. But I love the Giants. They're gonna, full.
Just give us your second
bias,
and third.
But second and third.
We understand the bias. Give us your second
bias.
Are you putting the Rockies on there too? CJ
no, No, the Rockies suck. I just say they're good to mess with Chuck because they're better than the Sox.
No, they're not.
A record.
We'll get to it.
Anyways,
I
second
think the
San
Rockies lead the
Diego.
league in team batting average.
Second San
Because they hit in
Diego.
Coors Field.
Yeah, they hit in Coors Field. It's almost as much of a cheat code
Their
as Yankee
pitching staff
Stadium.
is still the worst.
It's ridiculous.
Anyway, come on.
Ridiculous. But yeah, number 2 is San Diego. I think they're just a really well-balanced team. Great lineup, great rotation. You know, they can do it all. It's just not to the extent of a team like.
Dude, Mackenzie Gore has been the real deal. Like, I know Clevenger came back and they tried to move him sort of like to the bullpen now, but he was like elite, and he is a young pitcher, and he was going like sub-3 ERA, striking out 7-8 guys a game in like the 4 or 5 starts he made. I was really impressed.
And
with
once they're able
And
to roll out Tatis at
Once
100%,
again, the Padres aren't even at 100%.
exactly.
They're missing Tatis and they're missing Snell.
Exactly.
still.
Once
Yeah.
they
I think
roll
Snell
those two
actually
guys,
just came back. think Snell just came back.
Well, that's true. He came back yesterday. but-
okay.
Yeah.
Then yeah, and so once they get Tatis rolling at 100%, I think they'll be a really good team. They'll be hard for anyone to beat if they're in the wild card, which they should be. I don't see. a
Funny
world
you're
in which
saying
they're
this
not.
because every time we
Um,
go play MLB The Show, it's like the Madres, Tatis is a bum. The Giants are
because-
so much better. Are you
It's
kidding me?
because
I'll
hey,
take you, Darvish, and I'll hit him 450 dead center. Give me
do I
anybody
not
on the
hit
Giants.
Darvish 450 dead center?
Probably not.
You're right, I don't.
That-
I
that-
hit
that
fly out.
that
I
12
hit
puts you
flyouts
in
into
the
foul
league.
territory all game. So number 2, the Padres, and then number 3, I'm going St. Louis.
Okay.
Not high on the Mets. I don't know why. I just don't trust him. Mets gonna
It's-
Met.
Dude, Matt's gonna Met. Like,
Mets gonna Met.
happens every year.
And like we were talking about earlier with St. Louis, that their defense is
They're the
stellar.
best defense
Their
in
defense
the
is
league.
stellar. It's insane. And you know, if you combine that with the names they have in their lineup, their offense should not be bad. They should be in good position to, you know, threaten the rest of the NL to make a run if they get hot. They're a
I mean, they
team
won
that
like 16 games in a row last year at the end of the season, and they almost, beat the Dodgers in that wild card game.
yeah, they're a team that can run excuse me. They're a team that can run very, very hot and beat anyone. It's
And when you've
just a
got a
matter
closer like Pujols, man, I mean, you just all your ninth inning leads are safe.
yeah. He'll only allow 3 runs, which is perfect if you're up 12 runs.
All right. All right, that all we got, boys?
I think that's all we got. So
Alright, sounds good. Okay. Yeah, stay tuned for our AL video. It's probably gonna drop like right after this. So yeah, be on the lookout for that one. You want to hear them shit on my Red Sox? Come back. I'm going to defend them mercilessly because that's what I
Look,
do.
we're not going to talk about the Red Sox. They're not
Yeah,
even in
they're not
contention for
relevant
any of
to the
playoff
We will,
conversation.
we will talk about it.
they're
We will
not
talk
relevant
about
to the conversation.
No.
it. Thank you everyone for watching. This has been The Last Word.